Blacktown Boys High School, the motto, "Learn to Live." The sign is a leftover from the end-of-year stir when students began studying for exams, but Blacktown High has hardly stopped stirring all year.
We've been told repeatedly to show respect for teachers, to look after our school, to show some decency and human values. In answer to all this, I can say simply, you get what you deserve. The teacher, if he shows no respect for students, has no right in ordering that we show respect for him.
Part of Blacktown's trouble has been vandalism, smashed desks and windows, but it has gone deeper than that.
We were not born into this world of our own free will. The society has a responsibility for our education in every field, especially the most important aspect of mankind, sex. Man has no instincts. He must learn to live.
That passage was from a student newspaper which came out at Blacktown this year. Imprimatur was the idea of a fourth form student, Gary Young, and he was joined later by other boys. The newspaper was praised by his English teacher and widely read at the school, but after 2 issues it was banned by the headmaster. Gary Young on the right and a friend, Peter McMahon, left were both expelled. They were told for breaches of school discipline and poor academic records. But they believe their articles in the newspaper were the real reason.
The main objective was for kids to, or anyone in the school, teachers, kids, parents, to sort of just say what they wanted, and say things that they thought were important. And the idea that if it's trivial, it'll be seen as trivial, and if there are issues that different people think are important, then they'll be expressed instead of just the issues that the school authorities think are important.
Now, what sort of subjects did you think were important?
A lot of issues just on sort of things that you should be able to do in school and which you're not allowed to do, like different things. That's all rather minor, like being out of bounds and uniforms, all that sort of thing at first. And then when they didn't let us print the paper, it started bringing more issues of censorship and why shouldn't we be able to say these things.
Were you deliberately trying to take a left-wing line to attack the established institution of the school? Is this why there was an objection to the paper you were printing?
No.
No, I think the left-wing line is just the usual line you always use, like they've tried to put in any left-wing group they can use, let's say the communists or Wendy Bacon or someone's trying, just trying to stir trouble. And
were you pushing any line at all? Was this paper open to everyone, or was it just
any article at all was put in, and no articles were ever turned down that were submitted.
So you weren't just stirring for the fun of it?
No.
Were you accused of stirring for the fun of it?
Yeah. That was another one of their sort of smear things. First first thing they have is stirring, and then they have left-wing influence, and then they have pornographic, and they just smear it whatever they want.
Were you put up to this by any outside group, by, say, university students or any known leftist group?
No.
None at all.
Peter McMahon was eventually questioned by the police. He says they asked if he was a communist, who his friends were, and was he starting a drug ring. He denied all this and not long after was told to leave the school. Why do you think all this action has been taken against you?
It's just the questions to their authority, and they just don't like any, someone saying that they're wrong and that we're right.
And do you feel you have a right to question the authority of a headmaster?
Yeah. Oh, every right. If we're doing, we should have the right to express our views. That's what education is meant for.
The headmaster at Blacktown, Mr. Kelly, declined to speak to This Day Tonight. He said incorrectly that the whole matter was sub judice, and he would not allow us to film inside the school. But 2 teachers were willing to speak. On the left, Philip Porter, who taught at Blacktown but was transferred after he'd supported the newspaper. On the right, Brian Wild, still teaching art at Blacktown.
It seems to me that it's strange that an educational institution, that its whole fabric should be so delicate that if a 16-year-old boy, together with some friends, writes a paper, expresses their views concerning education and other things beyond the immediate realms of school, that the institution should feel so threatened that they have to not allow it to be published even within the school, which was the original idea?
I believe the atmosphere of the place is oppressive, and the children are aware of this. I have tried to point out that when the children are being dealt with irrationally, then they will react in an irrational way, and this is, in my opinion, the reason for these outbreaks of what are called vandalism.
Could I ask you both why you've decided to speak to this day tonight and risking departmental discipline in doing so?
Well, in my case, I believe there have been serious injustices done. I've come to have such grave doubts about the educational worth of what's going on in this school and other schools in the state that I felt, being involved in the situation, especially with Phil, that I had to take a stand on this, or I couldn't really live with my conscience from here on.
I'd agree with Brian on that in general terms, that I felt certainly I couldn't go on teaching the way I believe I ought to teach under a system such as this. Also, the fact that the particular students, one of whom, as I've said earlier on, I've taught for 2 years, have been treated so abominably. I think that here's a boy that is about to go onto a major exam, and he's been put out of his class, out of the school. He can't go to another school. He's doing night school. He's been doing all advanced levels, and at night school all he can do are ordinary levels. And he's out to fend for himself. To me, any educational authority that treats children, students like that isn't worth supporting.
Now, why did this happen particularly at Blacktown?
I believe that Blacktown is more or less the same as a lot of other schools in the state, where the things that are going on by and large are anti-educational and not educational, where children should be encouraged to think and to discuss and to criticise. They're being repressed and they're being straitjacketed instead of learning to find themselves and to be free of oppression.